Welcome to Kidmissing TV. Mark Burke disappeared on July 28, 2014. His body was found 3 days later on July 31st. His parents were Bernie and Noel Burke. He was the second youngest of 7 siblings. He grew up to have a partner and 7 children of his own. He worked as a painter and decorator, and by all accounts, was a happy and loving family man. And at some point, Mark began drinking a lot and became homeless, so I guess he broke up with his partner. His father said, from a happy-go-lucky young fella, pleasant, lovely personality, he started going into himself, wouldn't talk to anybody. His father also said, we'd always known where to find him. However, nobody knew what had sparked such extreme changes in Mark, and sadly, it would never be known what caused his behavior to deteriorate so quickly. His father ended by saying, to this day, we don't know. End quote. In 2009, Mark was robbed of 40 pounds, euro. I'm sorry. Southern Ireland, it's euro. In the coastal town of Dún Laohair, he was severely beaten and ended up in the hospital needing metal plates in his skull. The culprit was caught and sentenced to 5 years. His father said, quote, they put him into Beaumont Hospital, nearly killed him. That's when the plates were put in his head in an operation. He was beaten again in 2010 and required more plates. On Sunday, the 27th of July, 2014, so the day before he vanished, he was arrested and held for the night in Dún Laohair Garda Station for an unspecified offense. His father said, quote, of this incident, he was known to the Gardas, but not for nothing bad. The Gardas openly say that, and he wasn't a well man. He left the courtroom at 2:30 in the afternoon after being granted bail. I'm going to guess he was arrested for drunk and disorderly or something, because they say he wasn't a bad guy. On the 31st, partial human remains were discovered in a skip, which is a dumpster, at the recycling plant at Ballyfermot, which is western Dublin. The body had been taken apart and acid had been poured over it. Oh. DNA was taken from Mark's mother, and forensic testing confirmed that the remains were tragically Mark Burke. They didn't have an inquest for 1.5 years. He had been dismembered with a chisel, and his organs had been, well, taken from their original locations. Around 60% of his body was recovered. But his organs, his face, his jaw, and his hands were never recovered. The acid destroyed any tattoos. In July 2024, 10 years after the murder, the Garda revealed that they suspected that Mark was murdered in Goatstown County, Dublin, and his body transported by lorry, which is what they call truck, to the recycling plant where it was dumped. Now, a lady from Ireland did this case, and she questioned, why would you put him in the recycling when the recycling has to be gone through and separated out? Why wouldn't you put him with the real trash where they don't go through it? Instead, they put him in the recycling, which meant the men who went through the recycling were starting to find body parts. And that is an interesting question. The recycling plant sat at Killeen Road, Ballyfermot, Dublin. So the Ballyfermot Garda Station are the ones doing the murder inquiry. He lived at Dun Laohair, and his last sighting was there on Corrig Avenue. He frequented the Dundrum, Stilligan, and Dun Laohair areas. I'd like to read you the Garda's appeal. It states, any friends of Mark Burke from 2014 to contact Garda. You may still have some critical piece of information that will assist in the investigation. Did you have any contact with or see Mark during July of 2014? With the passage of time, you may be better placed to assist with the investigation, when previously maybe you couldn't. Do you have any information in relation to the death of Mark Burke? We encourage you to make contact and can assure that you will be treated with sensitivity and compassion. In particular, Garda wish to speak to anyone who saw or spoke to Mark in the vicinity of Drummartin Terrace, Goatstown, Dublin, or in the general Dundrum or Dun Laohair areas prior to his death. Garda wish to acknowledge the extreme anguish and loss the Burke family have endured over the past 10 years. Mark was a wonderful father, brother, and son, and his loss is greatly felt by those who knew him. They would like to bring some justice and closure for Mark's family. End. That was another one. End of notice. And I put this. Come on. Right there. That's a different one. Different case. Come on. There. So that's the announcement from the Garda. Which, for those of you who don't know, and I should have explained this back at the beginning of the case, the Garda, or Garda, is the Irish word for police. Oh, I have to actually get dressed today. I have Bible study tonight. So, because I just threw on whatever and I've got to have Bible study tonight. So, yeah. It sounds like this young man may have had a brain injury, and that's what caused this spiral. I don't think it was the people that had beat him the first 2 times, because they had already done their time. You know what I mean? It doesn't sound like it got very much time anyway. So, yeah, that's not something to worry about. He wasn't a drug addict. He drank, which means he didn't owe anybody money, chances are. Nobody's saying that he was a violent drunk or that he was a mouthy drunk. He was evidently a vulnerable person, would be my guess, especially after getting his head literally beat in twice. He was a vulnerable person. So I think someone took advantage of that vulnerability. That's just my opinion. Yeah. So just to make sure we clear up the words, Garda is police, Skip is dumpster, and Lori is truck. So. Same words in England. So, thank you so much for being here. God bless you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I will see you Monday. Then I won't see you till after the first of the year. Bye, guys.